Yeah, this is us starting the chalk, I guess, right?
The Pop Shove It Tail Grab at Hart Plaza in Detroit. I know there's a
Yeah.
little bit of a story at this one.
Yeah, let's see. That was year two, I think, of SAVA, right? 2015. Hart was like really on my radar because you guys had all done that other team trip there in like 2013, I want to say, right? And then it was on my radar from snowboarding too. Like I had Detroit homies like Jack Harris that were like, yo, if you ever pull up in Detroit, you go to Hart or something. And then it was like finally putting two and two together, realizing like, oh, this thing that like you and David skated is literally like the same spot. So before I actually went there, I want to say that fall was like SFD or like there's one of these snowboarder movies that came out that had like a ton of Hart Plaza. Like I don't know if they gap to the down on that rail next to the gap that I did, or there's another one that people do or whatever. But anyways, it was like in my head of like, man, if you can get speed on the snow skate, like I'm sure there's something crazy that can work.
But the way you hit
Yeah.
it would have never even crossed my mind to be like, oh, let's fill it in and land on it like you're landing into a slant. I would have never thought to do that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think I've had a decent history of like filling in stair sets as like landings. Basically by the time we were filming for True Color even, we already started being interested in landing on down landings just because like the speed you generate out of it, like everything looks smoother. It wasn't so much like oh, we want this to be like snowboarding. It was just like wow, it hurts a whole lot less and like it makes the clip look um fast from beginning to end. I don't really remember my thought process, but I'm guessing going to Hart, I probably wanted to look at that spot as the gap to rail and probably had a similar assessment of like, yeah, it's physically possible, but like it'd be like kind of maybe too psycho. And also, I don't know how you'd like guarantee you that you'd have the speed, right? Because like with my gap, I knew I wasn't gonna like come up short enough to fall down the hole unless I tripped or something, which we'll get, I mean, we'll get to.
Oh,
I want to say we had already scoped the park the previous day because I feel like we built the bridge, the snow bridge for on the run in the previous night and let it harden because I knew that was the only way it was going to work.
so that's one big thing I wanted to call attention to, and I think that's just such an interesting part of this whole trick. What point did you look at this and be like, "Oh, we'll just fill this in with snow"? Like it seems like an obvious thought, but it's something I would probably overlook.
I mean, obviously, like if you're up at the spot, it's like unlimited run. And then there's a 5 foot dropout that's like 2 feet deep. That's a walkway at a lower level. And then there's another maybe 6 feet. And then the sheer drop, the spot. It's like, well, yeah, just fill it in the snow. But being in the Midwest where like it is cold, but we often don't have like the packy snow, it was kind of a little like, ooh, is this going to harden up enough? Because that would be worst case scenario, right? Is like full sprint, that thing gives out, you then trip on your footing trying to stop, and then like there's only another 6 foot, right? So could potentially tumble. So, anyways, we're back on day two. I think it's cold. I think we're already like, wow, this is a lot to do for the fact that it's past noon, of course, classic snow skate style. So I'm kind of like walking up and down the stairs. I think I'm starting to maybe I'm like ready to shovel in the stairs, but I'm still like haven't fully clicked into like, okay, we're gonna run this. And then I see like obviously a snowboarder crew. And then homie comes up to me and the homie was like, yo, are you Alan Gerlach? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, yo, I got your snow skate at home. Like I be snow skating, like I'm a big fan. And I'm like, oh shit, word, thanks, dude. And then I'm like, what's your name? He's like, oh, I'm Bode. And I'm like, wait, are you Bode Merrill? He was like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, dude, I'm a big fan too. For anyone listening that's like into snowboarding, like Bode's on another level. Bode's something else. Bode's in my like top 10% of pros.
So did you feel pressure then? Were you like, shit, I might have to run this today, like demo
Well,
mode
okay,
Alan now?
so yeah, so Bodie's there obviously. So I'm like, okay, I know I could do it, right? So it's like there's a little piece of it of like, okay, now I kind of got to do it, right? This Canadian filmer, Brocco Bank, he filmed the VX angle from in the stairs. It's in the credits. And then T-Bird was there. He was the staff photographer at Snowboarder for a bunch of years. So he shot the photo of an ollie when I was warming up. And then he had to go shoot like with some of the rest of the crew who was in a different part of the park or whatever. So yeah, once it was like, oh, like these dudes want to see it go down. I was like, okay, we're running it, right? And one of them, I just like a switch flipped in my head for like footings wrong or something, right? And I like jumped off the skate and like skirt and ended up with my feet going over the edge. After that, I was like, okay, there's no room for like that. Like, even if my feet are wrong, I have to just like go with the board and just like jump the gap, you know, and not land basically. And I think it only took like a couple tries to ollie it. And then I think I ollied it like 3 or so times maybe to get the photo and just to like get the speed and everything dialed. And we were kind of like, I mean, we were kind of like, wow, well, that's a clip already for sure, just because the spot's crazy. I think I had like a few tricks floating around in my head. And I think there was like a little piece of me that wanted to try to heel flip it. But we were also losing light. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to get into this battle and not get a clip that I like more than the ollie and then have to come back versus do I pull out one of the classics that I could probably get in like 5 tries or less. And I think it only took like, I don't know, 4 or 5 tries, something like that. I mean, you know me, like in that era of my life, I needed that. I needed a little bit of crazy, like for my excitement and for, like even for thinking the clip was good to myself or whatever. But I think that one had enough balance. It was like looked death defying, but it didn't really feel that death defying once I had hit it once or twice. Still in my head, that was one of like the funnest tricks I did for my part. It was a feel good.
Oh my God! Oh my gosh! Allie G! Allie G! Oh my God! That was so sick!
Where do you stand on like the trick pop shove a tail grab?
It's a far easier trick on a snow skate than on a skateboard, I think. Now, does it look better? I don't know. That could be arguable either way. I kind of think it does. I think it's more appropriate on a snow skate than on a skateboard too.
It's more valid on a snow skate for whatever reason. Just seems more fitting. Where on a skateboard, it's kind of like, definitely down to cap on a skateboard.
I feel like I'm gassing up an illegal trick right now to try as if I'm trying to save my part from 10 years ago or something.